Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all here. Thank you very much for coming. I know there's a lot happening right now, a lot going on, so just it's a pleasure to have you here to talk about messaging. The clicker. This is going to be a messaging sort of 101 class, and not even a class. We're just going to walk through some of the capabilities of programmable messaging. I am Alejandro. I'm a designer on the messaging team. And this is Arvind. He's our marketing professional. And it is, again, it's a real pleasure to have you all here. We want to start with SMS because that's really kind of the starting point. It's essentially where Twilio got its start along with voice. SMS is changing. There are a lot of innovations happening in the messaging space, of course, but to this day, still a global protocol and still a way to reach every phone. In 2016, CTIA estimated that more than 16 trillion messages were sent in the USA over SMS. So it's a lot of messages, a lot of stuff happening there. So that's where we want to start. And to demonstrate some of the capability of Twilio SMS, we have a little demo prepared. So if you would like to participate, if you would be interested in participating, please take out your phones now and text either Mac or Mindy. Mac is short for Macklemore. So text either Mac or Mindy to 95649. 95649. And we'll come back to this in a few minutes. So for now, I'm going to kick things over to Arvind to take it from here.
All right. Thank you, Alejandro. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Say it again. Oh, the number. OK. Sure. Did everyone get it? It's 95649. Good? OK. All right, so thanks, everyone, for joining this session. My name is Arvind Rangarajan. I'm part of the product marketing team, focused on programmable messaging. I started in Twilio just a few months back, and I'm super excited to be here presenting about SMS. Like Alejo said, we're going to keep this pretty interactive. We're going to do some talk. We're going to show some demo, and then make you do some stuff on your phone as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting, we hope. So when you look at programmable messaging, you want to think about when you're trying to do messaging, whether it's going to be, say, a one-way messaging, or it could be a two-way interactive sort of messaging. I don't know how many of you attended the keynote yesterday. They talked about the conversational use case where there's two-way communication happening. So you want to think about whether it's going to be one-way or two-way. And then the other aspect that you want to think about is whether it's going to be a bulk messaging or more, account notification sort of thing, more not a bulk sort of scenario. Based on that, it'll be easy to build whatever that you're trying to do with messaging. And the slide here, we're trying to show predominantly how customers of Twilio are using programmable messaging. So when you look at it, the primary use cases are marketing. People send text messages to talk about offers, promotions. I'll go into details about some of the customers and how they're using it today. And there's loyalty programs that they do. They send messages for that. The second type of thing is the verification use case. How many times you contact your bank or you put in your password. If you turn on two-factor authentication, you're getting a text from a 5-digit number that says, here's the code, enter that, and then you're into your application. So that's for verification. That is another use case that's being used quite a bit. The third is notification. So this is with respect to any changes that can happen with your account. So you're buying something on Amazon, and as soon as you buy it, your order is placed, you get a text saying, hey, the order has been picked up, it's on its way. Or it could be your Lyft driver, you're ordering Lyft, and then the car comes, and then you get a text saying, hey, my Lyft is ready, are you ready to go? Or So these kind of notifications are the other, it could be a flight change information too. So for example, if you had a flight booking, you put in your cell phone number, you've opted in at that point, and you go to the airport, and there's a flight change, and you get a notification on that. Last but not least is the conversations. This is more a two-way type of communication. So it could be a customer support situation where you're texting something, you find a problem, and then they text back to you. There's an agent on the other side texting back to you. It's a back and forth sort of scenario that you have. So the first example here is Walmart. So as you can see, Walmart was using programmable messaging, especially using short codes here to kind of talk about their promotions and whatnot. So there were special discounts that they were offering that they would send a text message using the programmable messaging. The next one is a verification use case. So in this scenario, we have SmartKey, which is a company that helps people, rent their properties without them being there. They would send a code as soon as they get into an agreement. Whenever the renter goes there, they get a code to open the lock or get in. So that makes it much easier being able to manage this, manage the rental customers for them. Third is a notification use case, and this is with respect to Lens Direct. And they were, pretty popular. They were voted #1 in terms of their contact lens that they provide. And one of the biggest challenges that they were seeing was, the customer behavior is changing. Internet has changed so many ways in which we interact with business, and they wanted to ensure that whenever there is, a customer who has a prescription that's due, they would kind of make it more easy for them to fill that prescription as opposed to, expecting them to come and kind of having that interaction. So they would just simply send a text saying, hey, Ryan, your Lens Direct, your lens is up, or you have something that you need to refill. And all he has to do is just type in refill, and automatically that gets filled in the system, and they're able to get, send that back to him. So they saw quite a few, improvements because of this, and they were using email, and SMS helped them kind of address that immediate need. Lastly, it's conversations. This is Nike. So again, Nike is using SMS in an interesting way to kind of ensure they have good interaction with their customers. So whoever is coming in, they could say, get started, or if they're looking for something that is specific to the product that they want, or some specific question with respect to a Nike product, they could automatically connect you with the customer care agent who can help you take that further. So as you can see, these are some of the basic stuff that SMS can help, and some of these use cases that we are seeing our customers using SMS. Now, that being said, businesses still find it very hard to reach customers where they are, because there's all kinds of channels right now. You have SMS, you have people using WhatsApp, you have other, other types of, like iMessage. You have lots of different channels that people are using, and businesses are still finding it difficult to get to that. And still, the surveys that we have done, 39% of the consumers seem to prefer to be reached by an SMS. So I want to validate that myself. So if all of you, by show of hands, how many of you have at least sent one message or received one text message? Pretty much everyone, right? There's no one that has not received. So the reason being, it's ubiquitous, it's there on the phone, and you're able to receive that. Okay, with that, I will pass it on to Alejo to do the demo right now.
Thank you. Thank you. So, to get into this, I wanted to explore some of the nuts and bolts of messaging. So, one of the first things Twilio makes you do is buy a phone number. It's also called a long code, super creative name. Twilio phone numbers let you reach people globally. They allow you even to select specific area codes to reach people. So if I'm here and I get a 415 number, maybe there's a chance that my buddy's in jail and needs to get bailed out. I might be willing to pick up the phone. I don't know. You can even do specific numeric configurations like 555, 5555. although that one's probably not available. You can also purchase short codes. Short codes are more easily remembered, and they're ideal for sending high-volume SMS. You can send large numbers of messages at a much more consistent rate with a higher throughput. And of course, the short code that you texted earlier would be a good example of that. Then we have messaging services. A messaging service is a Twilio construct that is essentially a container for your Twilio numbers. These enable you to send a variety of messages, and they automatically apply several features to the numbers and senders in a messaging service to help with compliance and deliverability. These are ideal if you want to group numbers together for certain use cases, such as the ones that Arvind was talking about, notifications, marketing, customer service. The next building block I want to talk about is the webhook. A lot of you probably know what a webhook is. These are user-defined HTTP callbacks. Essentially what these are, they let your app know when certain events happen, such as an inbound SMS message or an incoming phone call. Now, every number, every Twilio phone number and every shortcode allows webhook configurations for messaging and also for voice. Okay. So for this demo, for today, we are using just a shortcode, which is the number some of you texted, and Twilio Functions, which is a service that allows you to run discrete pieces of node code directly on Twilio's serverless development environment. It's a lot of words. Basically, you can power your apps using Twilio's own environment without having to deploy your own service, without deploying your own servers. I am a designer, and in my free time, I write. So I write words, not code. So for me, it's a really powerful way to kind of get up and running with messaging services. And let's see, where are we at? Oh yeah, ingredients. Okay, so the other ingredients are just the SMS API. It's, again, one of the oldest features of Twilio, the API for sending and receiving messages, and then of course, our content, which some of you received pretty pictures of Macklemore and Mindy earlier on. So, okay, so those are the ingredients. Now I wanted to take a quick look at what actually happens when a message comes inbound to one of your Twilio phone numbers. This is a little bit of grounding. Some of you might be very familiar with this, but essentially this is kind of the basics of a flow for receiving and sending messages. Earlier on, your inbound SMS came to my Twilio shortcode. And in my messaging configuration, which we'll see in a moment, I've set up that shortcode to link to a webhook, right? So ordinarily, you have to set up a server or some endpoint to tell Twilio what to do with inbound traffic. In our case, with Twilio Functions, we've set up a lot of the routing for this, and we'll see that in a moment too. In real-world scenarios, you're probably going to need a database for storing data, right? Messenger lists, content, whatever it is. This is another thing that Twilio has somewhat provided a very elegant solution for with Sync. Twilio Sync allows you to use a data store. And my friend Andres back there is very involved in Twilio Sync, so he's celebrating silently. But again, it's a very powerful tool for a sort of, for a small business or for an individual or even a big business that just needs to get up and running quickly. But for this demo, we're just dealing with a small amount of data, and we don't want this data to persist beyond today. So what we're going to do is we're just going to scrape the messaging logs for the data that we need. We'll see that in a moment as well. So finally, let's take a look at the console, the Twilio console, right? There we go. So what do we have here? This is twilio.com/console. I'm looking at my SMS section. I have some messaging data, some errors and warnings that I've gotten in the last week or month, and then I have some logs of numbers that have come in and messages that have gone out. But what I really want to look at today is my messaging services, just to get a sense of where this is all taking place. So inside my messaging services, I can set up a specific service and apply what are called senders or numbers to that service. Here you can see a short code, the number that you all texted, and then I've also got a long code, a Twilio phone number. And what's nice is this allows me to handle fallback. So if some of you can't receive numbers from a short code, there will be an additional message sent out using the Twilio long code. Right. Then, another powerful aspect. So I wanted to talk about features as well, because this is something that is included by default with Twilio, Twilio messaging services, and it's a very powerful way to handle a lot of the sort of pitfalls and hurdles that occur when you are sinking your teeth into SMS. So for example, one of these is called smart encoding. And what this does is it takes, for example, UTF-8 will often fail when converting to GSM. These are two protocols, two formats for messages, right? And these will often fail. So you have to write a lot of code to make sure that if you have the wrong character, it gets converted. It's kind of a headache, and someone like me, I would have no idea. So what's really nice is that Twilio has provided this by default to automatically convert or encode your messages for the right recipient. Another one is Scalar. I really like this one because this distributes your outbound messages across all your Twilio numbers and senders. It's kind of like load balancing, but for SMS. So it's really quite elegant. And the last thing I wanted to take a quick peek at before we get into a little bit of code is two things. One is this inbound settings, right? This is where I'll create my request URL for when an incoming message comes inbound. But the other aspect that we've probably seen a little bit this past couple days is this conversations feature, right? We saw this at Andres' talk yesterday. I can auto-create a new conversation anytime a message comes inbound. This is a very powerful feature that automatically gives you access to event logs, to participant lists, and other aspects of conversations. So we're not using that for this demo. Today we're using this URL. And what is this URL? Well, earlier I mentioned functions. And I also mentioned that as a designer, I don't write a lot of code. So it was very convenient for me to be able to come into Twilio Functions, right, which is a feature on the serverless aspect of Twilio, and write handlers for all different kinds of content. So some of you texted Mac, some of you texted Mindy, and you got different content based on that. That was all handled here in Functions. Very convenient. Okay, so let's take a look at one last thing. This is the little bit of code. I'm actually going to run this script right now. So some of you texted in. You should now be receiving a follow-up message. And before we go any further, I wanted to just highlight this one line of code. I love this line because this, I think, is what Jeff wrote 10 or 11 years ago with the co-founders. It's this line of code, and it's still powering SMS today. So it's really powerful. Cool. So hopefully some of you are getting messages, and I think we can switch back to the other display. Awesome. Okay. So many of you texted in. You got an automatic response that went out in bulk. Arvind, you mentioned that earlier, right? Then we sent follow-up messages just now based on some segmentation rules that we established in our Twilio functions. Okay, the last thing that's happening now is hopefully, if my demo works, hopefully is a two-way transactional conversation where we're asking you some trivia questions. And depending on your answer, we're asking you to cast a vote for some content that we would play at the end of our presentation to cap things off. Okay, so hopefully you've gotten all those instructions and sent your messages back. One last note is everything that's going on now, if you are in my shoes, you can go to your Twilio console and check all the messaging logs, and you can see every event that has happened. So it's just a really powerful way to track what's going on. So let's kick it back over to Arvind to kind of start wrapping things up, and then we'll tally your votes, and we'll take it from there.
Thanks, Alejo. So as he showed you how easy it is to use the studio and develop any kind of flow that you want, this is how it works. So when you look at the top portion, that is going to be the business logic that your business would be using or building. The APIs are Twilio. We sit in the middle, and in the bottom is all the different channels that you can use. So the first one is SMS, then you have Messenger here, WhatsApp, Line, or it could be RCS in the future. Okay, so we saw it's pretty easy to send messages. If you want to send one message, 10 message, maybe even 100, it's not hard, or even 1,000. But when you're trying to send millions of messages, it's difficult. Scale is a problem. So why Twilio? I mean, Twilio makes that SMS easy to scale. There are three aspects that we do. That is the reason why we make it easy. First one is the reliability. So we have the super network. We protect your traffic. We are actually able to monitor these binds, the SMS binds with the carriers, and sometimes we find out even before the carrier knows that the bind is gone. So when you're able to tell that, you can easily use and reroute that message through a different bind, making sure that it's delivered all the time. So deliverability is really important. Imagine you have a very critical account notification that needs to go out, and it doesn't get delivered. I mean, people could lose money and time with that. So how do we do that? We've been building SMS for a long time, right? So we have a lot of information, tribal knowledge, information that people have used, we have collected over time. We are putting that back into the systems. We use that information that we have, put it back into the system, and build more, make it better. Finally, it's the whole developer experience. I mean, as you saw yesterday, Jeff mentioned there's 6 million developers around the world, and we are trying to make sure that they have all the tools that they need to ensure that that they are able to build, and they are sort of the cornerstone for what we are doing here as well. Okay, so to wrap up, what did we see today? So you saw, you received a trivia question over SMS. You answered the question. So we asked you, type in something. And then you also received a delivery notification. So we showed you a notification scenario. Your order was dispatched, or it's some ETA there. And then finally, you texted into the phone number to place a vote. I don't know if we asked that yet, but yeah. So, and that would give you the result of the vote in the end. So. Passing it back. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, well said, Arvind. So that is just about it. We're almost there. First of all, I wanted to thank you all for coming. Just before we get into the last couple things, and I guess we don't need to see that. I was gonna show off my little bit of code. I'm very proud of my code. I actually have a little bit of background with CSS and a little tiny bit with JavaScript, but this deploying my own node server and writing code in JavaScript was really a stretch for me. I couldn't have done it without this guy. This is Kyle. He's a rockstar developer on our messaging team. He is dedicated to helping people bring ideas to life in code. Check him out at idea2app.io, and that's him on the grams as well. So follow him. Had to give a plug. He's an amazing guy. So with that said, what I did here was I ran a little script to tally the votes. And what we've gotten is 32 votes for Thrift Shop and 5 votes for Same Love. Okay, so that's the Macklemore tune. So we're gonna start with that. We're gonna play a little bit of Thrift Shop. It's a great tune. Hopefully it's going.
I get copping it, washing it. About to go and get some compliments. Passing up on those moccasins. Someone else has been walking in by me and grudgy fucking man. I am stunting and flossing and saving my money. And I'm hella happy that's a bargain, bitch. I'ma take your grandpa style. No, for real. Ask your grandpa, can I have his hand-me-down? Velour jumpsuit and some house slippers. Dookie brown leather jacket that I found. Dig it. They had a broken keyboard. I bought a broken keyboard. I bought a ski blanket. Then I bought a kneeboard. Hello, my ace man, my mellow. John Wayne ain't got nothing on my fringe game, hell no. I could take some pro wings, make them cool, sell those. The sneakerheads will be like, he got the Velcro.
I'm gonna pop some tags, only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is fucking awesome. I'm gonna pop some tags, only got $20 in my pocket. I'm hunting, looking for a come up. This is fucking awesome.
Okay, that's Macklemore. He's playing tonight, playing Bash, so get pumped for that. The other aspect of this was we ran a similar vote for Mindy Kaling, and we got 18 votes for the Office clip and 9 for the Mindy project. So we're going to say so long. We're going to say thank you very much. And stay tuned with messaging. Please come and talk to us after. We're looking for people to test new ideas with messaging, customers who are currently in flight.
Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you learned something in this workshop or talk about how easy it is to send SMS.
And with that, take us away, Mindy.
Okay, so just for the record, this responsibility has been given to someone that's got a chocolate fountain in her office.
This is amazing. People love this.
What the hell is that? It's my phone. I'm gonna turn it on. I'm just hold this, please.
I think it's a good song, though, right?
Okay, I'm just.
There's just too much in here. There's too much in here, so I think the best thing is just probably just let it run its course.
Yeah, this one is positive, which makes 30 positives. But there was that one negative. The negative was a popsicle stick.
In sickness, health, and murder.
Ew, what the hell? Who are you? Scram! God! Ugh! Get out of here, you gross cat! Ugh. Hello?
Hey, sorry, I just got all your messages. I stopped listening after number 5. How you feeling?
Kinda not great. This random loser cat tried to be my pet. I'm actually dating someone too. He's a handsome lawyer who works in this building.
Oh. Well, that's great.
No, it's better than great. It's great! You think you're so cool. With all your legal talk, pacing around, and your expensive pants. I can do that too. Guess what? I've seen Legally Blonde 9 times. I saw it on Broadway. I read the novelization. I have the act.
Do they have more points? Yes. Do they have more skill? Yeah. But do they have more heart? Yes. And that is why we're gonna leave right now.
Whoa. Cocaine is delicious.
It's powdered sugar. I'm still sober. I just find the rituals comforting.
Good, and good for me, because I'd be a drug addict if cocaine was as delicious as sugar. But certain complications can arise when
you lose weight.
Excuse me?
You heard me. You're no Keira Knightley.
First of all, I am not overweight. I fluctuate between chubby and curvy. Sir, you're not using enough cheese on that pizza, sir. Hey, I'm watching you. But I miss her. Well, that's irrational, because she's barely been gone. There. It'll be okay. God, I'm never gonna get into shape.
Just exercise and eat less.
Okay, serious suggestions only, please. And don't tell me to get a personal trainer, because I tried to do that on Tinder, and no one took me seriously because all my photos are me eating meat pies.
Hey, girl.
You know what? You can cut the whole cool girl act thing. You broke Casey's heart once before, and I'm not letting you near him again. Plus, you're not cool.
Oh, I'm not cool?
No.
Have you seen me twerk?
That's your version of twerking.
Can you please get an erection?
I'm on a lot of antidepressants. I won't tell anyone about your Laurier if you don't tell anyone about my Laurier.
Oh, yeah. Your secret is safe with me, largely because I don't care and I'll probably forget.
Thank you so much.
Did you know that this restaurant has its own framed Bill of Rights? I have the right to life, liberty, and chicken wings. I mean, I was dreading it, but only because I hadn't realized how far I'd come. I'm happy, he is happy. It's so weird being my own role model. You know, I recommend it.
Okay.